Hi, this is Curt Barone, and welcome to another edition of Fire Law Roundup.
Okay, so let's stay in LA. Now, here's why, going back to the first case in Florida with the trailer, here's why I think that Florida will ultimately settle, because sometimes it's just the right thing to do, whether or not you have legal liability. Sometimes it's cheaper. For whatever reason, LA County, now you and I covered this. I don't remember the date, but you and I covered
Not that
this.
long ago. Yeah.
It wasn't. And it was good because it settled very quickly. But basically what happened here is there was known feuding between two firefighters who I think were at different stations.
No, same station.
Same
They're both
station?
engineers at the same station. Yeah.
Oh, okay. And
Yeah.
then one firefighter leaves, returns with a gun, and fatally shoots the captain, or fatally, shoots a guy named Carlton. And there's the wrongful death suit, and the allegation was the employer knew that this was a dangerous individual, that they had violent incidents between them, a workplace violence incident. By the way, there's a federal workplace violence requirement to have a policy and address this. This should have been addressed under that. And since the county was aware of the individual's, I'll quote, longstanding, threatening, bullying, combative, angry, and unsuitable behavior. Now, the only word I get there, the words I get there are threatening and combative. Maybe angry, but unsuitable is, if somebody just said your behavior is unsuitable, I wouldn't think you're going to go home and get a gun and shoot me, right? But nonetheless, if the question would have been, right, if it went to trial, did you know, would a reasonable employer have anticipated that the assailant was going to go home and get a gun? Was it to that level? And they thought it was, worth settling. So this is where I think the trailer will go. Well,
this is a tough case because trying to predict somebody's behavior from their past behavior, particularly somebody who's sort of spiraling downward, it is difficult for professional psychologists and psychiatrists to do. Right. And so it's difficult for chiefs. And I think for that reason, you've got to bring in experts. The union can be sometimes an antagonist because, you try to send somebody for an evaluation, and if you don't have it in the collective bargaining agreement, you've never done it. Now they're going to pose some obstacles for it. And I'm not saying I have no idea what happened in this case, but you want to think through this. And I think the best way to do it is the leadership of the union, leadership of the department need to kind of work out a process for workplace violence before you attach a name to it. So it's not reacting to, Brad or Curt or some known quantity. But get in there, set up a policy, involve the EAP folks with it as well, and then let the experts guide the department. If somebody needs some time off, if somebody needs to go away, whatever it may be, let's get them the help. But what happens, I think, sometimes is we're kind of caught off guard by an allegation that somebody is out of control, and we don't really know how to deal with it, and we don't deal with it. And this is the unfortunate type of result that can happen. And again, I'm not saying that's what happened here. Maybe the department did everything they should have done, and it's very difficult to predict this type of outcome.
In your smaller departments sitting watching us are saying, wait a minute, we don't have a psychiatrist or a psychologist. We don't have an EAP program.
You need to get a phone number. You don't have to hire them. You don't have to have, but you need to have somebody who is able to assist you. And, you and I talk about it all the time. We're not doctors. Okay. So that when somebody brings us a doctor's note, we're not, it's not for us to dispute what the doctor has said. Maybe we get another doctor to dispute what the doctor said. But we're not experts. And I think, we've got to understand our limitations. Big fire department, small fire department, we need to have some sort of expert in this area that's going to be able to help us make better decisions here.
Right. And look, what I do almost inevitably is I tell my clients, let's say the smaller or mid-sized fire departments, I tell them, remove the person from duty, If you think something's off, and this could be
Right.
for depression, this could be for anything, remove them from duty for their own benefit. They don't need to be subject to anything more that could inflame PTSD or anything. And and protect the public, protect the firefighters, but then tell them they have to go get psychological evaluation or anger management or something real. And if they can't afford it now, in many states like New York, I'm sure California, in many states, the insurance companies give you a set number of mental health visits. So if you have health insurance, which with Obamacare and others, most places do have some sort of health insurance, you are guaranteed a certain number of mental health visits, and departments should use that, right? Yes, maybe you cannot afford your own psychiatrist or psychologist or mental health team at your department, but most places, most people who have insurance have that mental health benefit and never use it. And I encourage everyone, go get, counseling for no reason at all. Just keep yourself tuned up. But here they have a chance to get it. And a true psychiatrist or psychologist will diagnose something, I presume, and then intervene, hopefully. But if you do that, you have taken the liability off. I hate to talk about this in lawyer terms, right? But if you do that and you remove somebody for duty, you send them for an evaluation, now they're evaluated and they're returned, you're off the hook as far as I'm concerned. What more can you do? You send them to a doctor, right? And that's what they've done. We're not doctors. They've evaluated, you're off the hook. But if you think you're going to die, I'm just repeating what you said. If our firefighters and fire chiefs think they're going to diagnose somebody on their own, and that's going to say, oh, no, he's fine. You're playing with fire, right? Because we're not experts on that.
For sure. And just on the psychologist end, I mean, there's diagnosing somebody, and let's just throw something out there, paranoid personality disorder. You can diagnose somebody with a paranoid personality disorder, but you can't predict that it's going to escalate to this.
Right.
That becomes almost expecting somebody to have a level of clairvoyance that it's not reasonable. So, but again, I think you're right that we've got to take certain steps to justify and do our due diligence on our end as the leaders, and then let the psychologists, psychiatrists do their due diligence, and hopefully most of the time we'll end up with an outcome that benefits everybody, as opposed to what happened here.
And my last word on that is, I've never once seen the I turned a blind eye defense work. What did a chief so-and-so, what did you do in response to these complaints? Oh, we turned a blind eye. We thought it would go away. I've never seen that work. So,
and I doubt LA County turned a blind eye, because I've got some friends up, in LA County high up, and certainly I'm sure they handle it as best they could. But I think for other departments that don't have the resources, like you suggested, you need to find resources in the community. And if you have an IAFF local and you have an EAP program, the folks who are experts in, drug and alcohol, they're not going to be experts in violence, but they may have friends that can be brought into the circle, and then they become a resource, just like your regular EAP folks.
Right. Just chiefs, we have and I mean this, we have a bad history of thinking we have to be able to solve everything, because that's our right. That is our role on a scene.
When the doors go up, the bell goes off, the doors go up. That's what we were expected to do, and then you just progress in the front office and you take the same mentality.
Yeah, and I think that's the problem with it.
Sometimes you got to call a special signal.